Hi, Andy.
Hello there.
This is a real honor to be doing this interview with you. And I would like you to congratulate you for your new album that will be out in September.
Yes,
What can
of
you
course.
reveal to us about Wall of Scones?
Pardon? Sorry?
What can you reveal to us about Wall of Scones?
I think it's probably the most modern album of Brainstorm, featuring a lot of things we have done already at on Midnight Ghost, but now featuring more of our trademarks we have in our sound since the early days. And this is what makes the album to me so special, as it really brings down to earth what Brainstorm is all about in 2021. I love it. It's fast, it's straight in your face, and it's absolutely heavy. This is what I like so much on the album.
And in each way, is it different from Midnight Ghost?
I think we have more faster songs on the albums now, and I think the songs are more down to the point. In some cases, I think on Midnight Ghost, I still love Midnight Ghost, and as I still think it's one of our best albums. But Wall of Skulls is definitely not just a second part. Wall of Skulls is really an outstanding record itself, and it has a lot of very heavy, very fast songs in a very high class identity and intensity. And this is what I like so much. And but I think if you liked A Midnight Ghost, you will definitely love Wall of Skulls.
So can we say that this album, this Wall of Scones, is a Midnight Ghost 2.0?
No, definitely not. Wall of Skulls is stands for itself, and I think actually everybody can hear that which song is from what album, and I think that's the best thing you can have. I think Midnight Ghost represents Brainstorm in 2018, 2019, and Wall of Skulls is now the perfect representation for 2021, and yeah, that's what I think. It's definitely not just a second part. It's a self-standing album, and Wall of Skulls is a real bone breaker.
And so we can say that it shows your evolution as a band.
I think so. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, you already said that this album has more fast songs and it's different from Midnight Ghost. Did you change anything in your composition process to make it different?
Not really. I think it sounds bizarre, but the pandemic was a little kind of a, let's say, kind of a gift to us, as we had more time to work on the album. And I think the most important thing what we have changed instead of Midnight Ghost or any other albums is that we have kicked out so many parts on some songs just to focus on what is really important on a song. And I think that is what you actually can hear. For example, a song like "Glory Disappears" is just so down to the point, with no instrumental things around. It just brings it down to the point, straight ahead, and shows exactly what the song is all about. And so it goes on with other tracks like "Turn Off the Light" and so on, or "Where Eagles Fly." This is so, to me, so really the cool thing on the new album. This is, yeah, that's what I like. But we haven't changed anything particular, so not really.
And the pandemic kind of quickened up the process of Wall of Skulls, right?
It slowed it down. Not quickening it up. So because we already wanted to go into the studio in the spring of 2020, but just because of the lockdown and because of not meeting and kissing each other, we just had to reschedule everything and went back into our rehearsing room instead of going to a studio. And then we just rearranged parts, rearranged songs. And then I kicked out many of my former vocal lines. And that was the time what we probably needed in one way, that we said to ourselves that now it's time to take, if we have the time, so let's go down go back into the rehearsing room and take the time and find out what is really important on the song and what are probably things we haven't done before, you know, because with every album we record, with every album we write, we do learn a lot of things, and I think this is what you can actually hear on the album as well, is the kind of a progress what we have, and that's I think what makes Wall of Skulls to us so special.
And so thanks to the pandemic, you were able to get more to the point in the songs.
Yes, absolutely.
And get them more straightforward.
Yes, absolutely. That's the reason, probably.
It's funny because usually when you let the songs grow. They don't become more straightforward. They become more evolutive and with more parts and stuff. It's
absolutely, absolutely. The normal thing is that when you have the time, you think about putting more stuff into the songs, more and more. And we went totally the way around, and we thought, no, let's think about what is really important on a song, you know, and that makes the album, to me, that sounds so, how can I say, so fresh, so yeah, to me, really, this represents Brainstorm in the best way. Absolutely, yeah, but it's a very special kind of way we worked on it. Yes.
And this is album your most straightforward album?
So I think absolutely. In a way, we have so many fast songs on the album. That's what I really think makes it very interesting for the listeners and for the fans. And the first reaction are overwhelming, to be very honest, around the planet, which is great to us. Absolutely.
Okay, what about your voice? Did you adopt any new technique to this album?
After so many years, you know, so I do have a very special kind of a singing and breathing technique anyway, as I've used to play clarinet when I was a young kid, and I used to play clarinet for at least 14 years. And besides singing, you know, so, but playing clarinet is something completely different, and it has got nothing to do with singing, but the way you breathe during playing clarinet is so different. Then I took it over to my way of singing, to my way of breathing while I'm singing, and this makes it also very, very interesting and very, very difficult for some producers to understand why and when I'm breathing. But I haven't changed anything in there. I know how to warm up. I know how to handle my voice with care, and it's also every time in a good shape. But believe me, it's not so easy these days if you cannot play any shows or you cannot go on tour. Sometimes my neighbors have to suffer.
I'm sure they will like the songs you are singing.
I hope so. They're still alive, so that's a good sign. That's a good sign. No bleeding ears.
Also, regarding the vocal part of the album, for the first time you worked with two guest vocalists. What were you trying to reach by inviting Sib and PV Wagner?
The funny thing is really that I had this in my mind since many, many years, you know, but it never really happened. And I told Sib about it when we've been in the studio together, and I told him that I would like to have this or that singer and so on. And he just looked at me and said, Andy, you're talking always about singers from America, from England, from Sweden, but why not working together with a guy you already know, who's a guy who just is part of your life since the very first beginning, since you're a metalhead, and you know each other very well. You're partying together. You've been on tour together. Why don't you ask him? And he lives just a few kilometers far away from the studio. And so we called PV, and he was totally fascinated, totally happy about it. And then I was totally happy about it. But then I said to Sib, okay, as we now have an old icon, an old hero of my old days, you know, so of my early days, you know, so I would like to have a modern hero as well on the album. So, and Sib looked at me and said, man, whom are you talking about? And I said, if you don't ask any silly question, if you do not want to get any silly answer for that. And so I just told him that I want him to be part of the album, and he was in the first place, he was totally shocked, you know. But to be very honest, what came out at the end makes Wall of Skulls even more special to me, as I think both parts are totally, they fit perfectly to both of their voices, and I think both of them do make an outstanding performance. I think it's great what they do, and I think it fits perfectly. And the coolest thing is that this is something that we never have ever had this idea in our minds, you know, just to have just somebody on the album. We just have now two friends singing on the album, and this is, to me, something very cool, something very special, as I think it makes, as I said, the album even more special to me, and makes me extremely proud as well. I think absolutely that PB and Sabe, yeah, just they kicking ass on this album. I love it. I totally love it.
They are really two very good singers, as and you are as well. But it seems that Sib is the. Can we say that Sib Leverman is the producer of Wall of Skulls? Can we say that this was an idea that you only had after listening to the song, or was it before the songs? Listening to the songs.
Azib is the producer of the album, and he's a really producer. He's not just a recorder; he's a really producer. And the cool thing is, really, I had this idea of having guest vocals on one of our albums since years. You know, since many years, I'm thinking about it. Since many years, I'm talking about it. But after we listened to some of the parts I already sang on the album, we talked about it again, and Seb and me, we decided, of course, you know, that this or that part would fit perfectly to PV's voice, you know. But in the first place, when I went to the studio, I had no intention to invite anybody on the album. But this happened, and this came up, you know, during the recording sessions. And then when we talked, and when we had some whiskey together, you know, especially in the case of Sabe, you know, then it just happened, you know. So that's cool. I like it. I like it very much.
And the final result is amazing, I think. Is Walls of Skull a conceptual album?
No, definitely not.
No.
It has it's no concept album. I'm not into concept album at all. And the only thing I like is to write about more or less historical, religious, or actual themes we do have in our world. And the point is actually that I'm really not, as I said, you know, in these religious stuff or so. We're a German metal band, of course we are, but we've never been into stuff like rainbows or singing about crusaders or whatever, or knights or whatever. We've never done this, you know. So in our kind of music, this is a kind of a very high class melody, harmonies and stuff, but always a kind of a melancholy as well in it, you know. So, and this makes our music not too happy, you know. So we're not a happy metal band, of course not. We're just taking care about very good moments, very good melodies and stuff. But I think the most important thing is really to make you be longing for listening to the album more and more, and that's the best thing you can have. And to be very honest, I like listening to my own shit, which is cool. Especially since Midnight Ghost and now Wall of Skulls as well, you know. So it's really bizarre because on the years before, I sometimes did not listen to my own stuff that well, or not that much. But since those two albums, I like to listen to it. I do. Very loud, very clear.
And I think all the fans really appreciate more these albums too, because it's a turning point in your career. Midnight Ghost was a turning point in your career. So this album, I think it continues on the same way.
I think so as well. Absolutely. Yes, I do. I think absolutely that it shows exactly what the band is all about, you know. So I think we've learned a lot. We sometimes tried something different here, something different there in the past, but this is the kind of music we are well known for, and this is the kind of music that people want to hear. and this is the kind of music we like to play. And then when you see how our live
that makes
set,
unique.
absolutely, absolutely, you know, and when you see how our live set has changed since the release of Midnight Ghost, we are now, after 13 albums, we are now able to play at least 8 up to 10 songs from 2 of our last albums, and then we just have some old classics in the as well. But most of the songs are new ones, and this is something I'm really proud of, because we've been able to surprise people after 12 albums in the case of Midnight Ghost, and we are still able to surprise people and find new fans with our latest album, with the 13th album now, which Wall of Skulls is. And this is something not every band can say.
In 2019, you released a single called Secrets and Related Lies. This song is neither on Midnight Ghost nor on Wall of Skulls. Why did you decide not to include them on the albums?
You know, I think sometimes it's fine if you do not release every single song, but the main case in here was that the Japanese market asked for some special songs. They're not featured on the regular album in Europe. But after Midnight Ghost came out, we decided not to give Japan a special song which the European fans cannot have. So we decided to release the album the normal way in Japan as well, and to keep the song for ourselves, and then to release it whenever we want. Because I'm not a fan of releasing extra songs in another country just to whatever to do what the rules there want to have and so stuff. So we decided to keep the song and to release it after a while. And but the fans seem to like the song, which is really cool, absolutely. But this is, I think, as far as I do know, we haven't recorded another song here as well. So there's no secret song somewhere in the back this time. This time not. This time not.
You just included everything. I kind of agree with you with that part of not giving songs to the Japanese market that the Europeans and the rest of the world can have, because the fans in the European markets, we don't just want to have that, and they just can't.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
have now.
And I think it doesn't really make.
Okay, you now have more than 30 years of career under your belt. What can your fans still expect from you?
We are still able to surprise the people, as I said. We are, absolutely. We are. Are we 30 years around? Yeah, okay, we are. It's a horrible thing. Time flies, you know, time flies, of course. But anyhow, you know, as you say, as we say, we just have released 13 albums now, or will release our 13th album. And then, of course, what the people can expect is, I think, we know actually that they also do not only want a show, they want a special show, you know. And I think what the people can expect from Brainstorm Live is always pure energy, pure power, you know. And it's 100% show, you know. There's no doubt about, you know, we're not taking care about anything else, you know. We're just taking care about the fans. But what they can expect is, of course, besides the show they already know or seen for years, you know, with a lot of headbanging and stuff, is now this time we want to have a great show with us as well, with skulls and stuff around us, you know, everywhere. And I think this will be very special. This will be very cool. But let's cross fingers that this tour and this shows will happen.
Okay.
But they can expect a lot. Believe me, they can expect a lot.
I bet they can after Midnight Ghost and Wall of Skulls.
Of course.
If you had to rate all Brainstorm albums, in which position would Wall of Skulls be?
I think it's quite easy, as it's a turning point. I think probably right now it's together with Midnight Ghost, it's on part 1. Together with the Midnight Ghost. I think on second and third there are albums like Liquid Monster, Soul Temptation and stuff, because those albums were turning points as well. Downburst was also a really good one, but we sometimes had our times in between when we tried something different, as I said, you know. But I think Midnight Ghost, Wall of Skulls are very, very important albums in our career, and maybe we will see, you know, that it's different, because Midnight Ghost is now 3 years old. So let's wait and see what I think about Wall of Skulls in about 3 years. The difference is that I've seen so many amazing reactions of fans when we played songs from the Midnight Ghost album, you know. So I think probably Wall of Skulls will be will be on number 1 after a tour, after I've seen and after I've heard the fans screaming for songs on the Midnight on the Wall of Skulls album. So this always got something to do, because when I'm thinking about songs from the Wall of Skulls from the Midnight Ghost album, sorry, I'm thinking about great reactions, great people singing, you know, to our songs and so on. I think this might be clear within the next 2 or 3 years. But I can say that Wall of Skulls is definitely one of my highlights ever in my career.
Okay, and right now, are you included in some other project?
No, not today.
What about plans to solo band or something?
I think right now it's quite fair to be concentrated and to be focused only on Brainstorm. As I said, we have released another amazing album, so I think, and so let's be focused on here. I don't know what the future will bring, but I'm always open and open-minded to anything new, anything different here or there. But it must make sense, you know. And what I can tell you definitely is, it has to be fun in a big way, you know. This is fun with good musicians.
The only way to make music.
Yes, that's it. That's it.
Well, that's it. Thank you, Andy. Do you want to send any message to your Portuguese fans?
Of course I will. Thank you very much for your support. We really appreciated your support for the Midnight Ghost album. Thank you so much for this. Give Wall of Skulls a listen. Try it out, find out yourself, bang your head to the music, have a great time, stay healthy everybody, and hope to see you soon on one of our shows in Portugal. We love you, we miss you, see you soon, thank you.